team is more likely to reach the playoffs? Is it Michigan or the Trojans of USC?
Like what playoff? Like what playoff are they going to be eligible for?
The 12-team playoff.
12-team college
Like
football
the-
playoff. Barry, answer the question.
Like the college football, like either of those teams?
Yes.
Okay.
USC.
So
Michigan.
I don't think either of them is even getting an odor of the 12-team
Odor.
playoff.
Wow.
They both lost too much. I know Michigan's the defending national champions. But Paul, here's all I'll give you. Because I am still heartbroken by the Pac-12 being demolished, I'm a Pac-12 guy. I think Oregon is actually going to win the Big Ten, a Pac-12 team new in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. For that reason only, having said that neither of these teams are going to make the college football playoff, I'm going to lean Pac-12 and say, you know what? New defensive coordinator, Lincoln Riley offensive acumen, Miller Moss showed out in the bowl game. Maybe, just maybe, even though their schedule in the first year is impossible, I'll play along and say USC.
Matt, please. First of all, I'm glad you didn't say that USC was going to the playoffs for a moment.
No.
I thought I was going to have them take you away in a funny-looking hat. I disagree. And by the way, this is not a debate that's going to turn into a bar fight because I think Matt's point is a good one. I think they're both marginal. I think Michigan has a path, though. And I think their path, Matt, is pull an upset. I don't think Southern Cal has any chance at all of you said odor. I mean, they're not within a couple of time zones of making the CFP. I think Michigan, assuming it could beat Texas at home, which is not that far-fetched, then has some momentum. But Southern Cal, to me, isn't going anywhere except maybe seeing Lincoln Riley depart here in maybe a year or two, because I'm just so underwhelmed by what he's done there, Matt. He had the big year with Caleb Williams, and then he train wrecked it. He wouldn't adjust, as he has never done, even before at Oklahoma when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. So everybody's celebrating. Oh, he finally went out and got a defensive coordinator. What took him so long? He's simply blown more national championship appearances and shots at the playoffs because of his stubbornness. I think he's an average coach, not to debate that here. I think Sharon Moore has a chance to be a really good coach at Michigan. He showed what he's capable of last year, filling in for Jim Harbaugh literally half the season. And I was impressed. Now, again, he had the groceries. He had a great team, but he didn't screw it up, which I think Lincoln Riley has made a career out of doing.
Jay, real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Because Paul, here's where I'm absolutely stunned about USC. Again, growing up a Pac-10, Pac-12 guy, this is a USC league my entire life. USC had the stars. It had the Heisman Trophy winners. It had the national championships. And the fact that USC really drove the conversation to get rid of the Pac-12, the fact that USC, as we sit here today, has fallen behind Oregon as the preeminent team on the West Coast is stunning to me. If we would have had this conversation 2 years ago and we had talked about this hypothetical Pac-12 dissolve and go to the Big Ten, I'd say, Ohio State, you're in trouble because USC's coming. I just don't feel that way anymore. And to me, that's a bigger issue that USC's fallen back on a team that used to dominate the West Coast.
All right. Michigan, to me, is the obvious answer here for a couple of different reasons. One, yes, they're the reigning national champions, but they also have quite a bit of talent, right? Like, they have 4 projected first-round picks on this roster, including 3 on the defensive side of the ball. So there's definitely talent to be had there. In addition to that, Michigan is accustomed to Big Ten football. Sorry, USC, you're not. We're not playing, to your point, Matt, Barrie, in sunny California anymore, where defenses don't always exist. Same, Lincoln Riley, how it was in the Pac-12. We didn't always have to play defense. In the Big Ten, you do, especially with the schedule like USC has. So if I have to pick one or the other, while I both think they're going to have a drop-off, including the 5 losses USC had last year, I would have to take Michigan in this case, because I just don't think USC is ready for what's coming to them.
So did you just use your argument against you with Caleb Williams and the Bears about the 7?
No, what I did was reverse psychology. I did reverse psychology.
So you heard that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad we're all paying attention. But if you look at, we just showed USC's schedule there. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
At Michigan, Penn State, who comes in the top 10, Notre Dame, we could debate their bona fides at number 7. They lost 29 players overall, 12 of them with 4 stars attached to them. LSU, Paul, I don't know that SC will keep it within 2 scores against LSU Labor Day weekend.
Ooh, 2 scores.
No, Matt, I think that's where it starts to unravel for Lincoln. And you can't get a more of a prominent, shining moment of the college football first weekend when you're on that Sunday night, the entire world watching you. And I fully expect Lincoln Riley to show what an average coach he is against, to me, a coach who can be elite at times, and that's Brian Kelly of LSU. LSU's missing the Heisman Trophy winner from last year. They're missing some other key players, but I totally agree. I think that game people will be able to go to turn off the TV and go to sleep early that night because it won't be that close either.
If we pull up USC schedule again and you look at the ranked teams that they have to face in that schedule for the entirety, not even just the first half of it, I don't know that you could point to a matchup against a ranked opponent that you would have USC winning. You don't. LSU, Michigan, Penn State, and Notre Dame. I mean, I don't know that there's one of those ranked teams that USC would keep it within 1 score.
No, I think Michigan's going to be close.
I was going to say, what about that Michigan game?
Yeah, they've got a ton of question marks at quarterback. I mean, that's Alex Orji kid. He's a great athlete. I think that's going to be a closer game than people think. But when you look big picture at the brands in college football and how we did this realignment, which regionally killed the sport. But when you look at the brands now, how are the brands going to step up and survive? USC is one of those that I believe that when they're a top 10 team, it's better for college football.
I agree.
When Miami's good.
Notre Dame is good.
That's
100%.
really, really good for the sport. USC can't afford, like Paul said, on a national stage, in a team that's a mirror image of themselves between LSU and USC. Both lose Heisman Trophy quarterback.
Yep.
Both head coaches left premier jobs 2 years ago to come to these premier programs.
Good point.
I think that game in and of itself is going to tell you which program's headed in the right direction.
Give me something.